Meanwhile, Team Secrets with the Luna and Shadow Demon already picked up. They grab, I guess, what would be some of the tougher high ground heroes to go up against. The Tinker, very notorious for his high ground defense, and then I guess the Darkseer, who I haven't really been feeling too much. I feel like he's a little bit slow for an offlaner, but I guess he would be a hero that is tough to go high ground against. Is really good against Luna, right? If you can get that wall on him.
Yeah, for sure. Take the Timbersaw. I'm sort of surprised they didn't take the Nyx. That Forever really likes that, but I guess they want something more more tanky frontliner with the Luna. So
yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
Timbersaw is also a really good 1v1 hero, right? So if he ends up being matched up against the Beastmaster, let's say, because Team Secret run an aggro tri-lane, like you wanted to be able to make sure you had a hero that would be able to win that matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Forever is just also really, really good on that hero. It's one of like his signature heroes, at least that he's been spamming those Nyx, Timbersaw, and then like some random heroes.
All right, waiting for our fourth pickup. Most likely, we're going to be seeing a support here, as I'm sure Team Liquid want to be able to leave their mid matchup for last, if possible. I don't know what other supports are really left. You just got to make sure that it's looking like, anyway, that you got to make sure you just don't lose to the high ground push of Team Secret. They've rounded out their lineup, I guess, a bit with Timbersaw, who goes mid to late game okay, but I'm just going to assume that the team with Faceless Void and a hard lockdown of Beastmaster is going to have the better late game. So if you're looking for a support that is pretty active, do you see anything that's left in the pool that would be really nice for Liquid to have? Okay, never mind. If you were going to call that, then...
Nah, I wasn't going to say Elder Titan. I was trying to think, because Bola and Crow typically don't play like, Bounty Hunter or like Ricky kind of hero, so... He's sort of the same style, but a hero that they play.
And Boba is obviously well known for his Elder Titan play back when he was an offlaner and it was an offlane position for ET to play. And I mean, we used to see, back in like MDL, like it was banned out 1-2 every single time because it was such a valuable support. It destroys any agility carries because, I mean, obviously the natural rank up in armor is immediately taken away from you by the Elder Titan's passive in natural order. So this is going to be rather problematic for Team Secret. Plus, it's a really good high ground defending hero. It combos up with Faceless Void's Chronosphere amazingly well.
Yeah, that was one of the combos that everybody was like spam picking a TI6, and you had to either ban one of them or like take one and then take the other, because it's just really, really strong team fight.
All right. Mids left. Invoker's going to be taken away. That I'm looking for some sort of scaling mid for Team Liquid, and I don't know. What do you want to see from Secret? Do you want an initiator, or do you also want to see something that scales a bit better?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Mid one has been playing a lot of Storm, but this isn't really a Storm game.
5 seconds remaining.
What are they gonna take? I think Liquid might take Sniper, to be honest.
Because they already have two. They've got 3 okay frontliners. You got a really good one in Chronosphere. Beastmaster is a nice initiator, and then Elder Titan, usually a good AoE controller in the front lines as well.
Yeah, and they have Team Secret has like no jump right now. They have Oracle save. Shrapnel is super good at defending towers.
Turn to pick.
Well, they banned away Ursa. This is a dire side, so I guess you could see how this the mid Ursa would actually snowball pretty heavily. They actually go for the Morphling, so this means this pick won't have the same kind of early game like laning phase presence, nor will it have the same kind of ultimate high ground defense that Sniper is able to pull out. But it is a hard carry that is sure to outdo whatever Secret pull out next.
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see, I wonder if so. I guess they're putting. I guess it depends on what the hero is. If they put Void or Morphling mid.
Yeah. I guess I'm assuming because of the Ursa ban that they're planning on putting Void mid, unless there's a matchup that just destroys him. But the only matchup I could really think of from range heroes would be like Razor now.
Yeah, there's not really that many heroes that. Okay, so it is Storm.
All right. Well, you're on the money, CC. Yeah. You needed a pretty active hero to keep the you needed a matchup that was favorable, and Storm Spirit's able to abuse the melee matchup here against Faceless Void, and you needed something that puts pressure on the Morphling, right? And that's something that I'll say if you would for a Razor, you're entirely focused on like, okay, we have to push high ground by 25, 30 minutes and end the game. You're not going to be looking for the Morphling and trying to keep him down. It's more of ending the game as quick as possible. This gives you some options to, bring some longevity to the game and still win out, right?
Yeah, for sure. Mid one plays his Storm like really, really aggressive. A lot of players sit back and try and farm up the Bloodstone as soon as possible, but he rotates around a lot. Definitely like gets involved in like all the early fights. Sometimes he even goes Trez before Soul Ring. Plays it like really, really aggressively. So.
Well, we'll see. Him in the mid lane as we're gonna get underway already. Smoke's already coming out. Early TPs. This seems to be heavily favored right now. Everyone trying to get that one up in vision. Some nice aggressive wards into the enemy's jungle, which is exactly what Puppey's going to be doing here. Surprising the Team Liquid aren't trying to do the same. But I suppose they have a Beastmaster. Beastmaster just gives you some natural vision advantages, so you don't have to worry as much about that.
Now they smoke.
Okay. Maybe they're actually going to look for some sort of fight. They don't have the greatest level 1 in the world.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
But maybe if they just run into one hero by itself, then they'll be pretty happy. Sure enough, Team Secret is going to be going for the aggro tri-lane, leaving Timbersaw to that 1v1 matchup at top lane against Mind Control's Beastmaster, and Miracle is going to be handling that mid Faceless Void. They're going to wrap around, but it looks like they're not going to catch anything. Secret, they're being pretty wary here. This is some of the advantage of the early warding, right, is that you get some information. And they've seen literally nobody from Liquid. That means they've got to be top doing something.
Yeah, for sure. They this tri-lane down bottom is going to be pretty favorable for Secret, I think, because the Lunar Blessing, that passive is actually so insane. So
yeah,
it's going to be tough for them more playing, I think.
Secret already getting themselves in a position to zone Liquid out a little bit. Not going to be able to get to the creep block, that's for sure. Pylai Die still hoping to challenge that, but he's going to run into 3 heroes. Not what he's anticipating. They're going to pull him back, but now the Purge is going to hit both of them into the double stomp. Oh, Pylai Die and Puppey, what did you think you were doing? They tied their fates together, and now they both may end up going down as Bulba's going to chase down and get yet another Purge off, and that'll leave Kuro, if necessary, to throw down another stomp to finish off Puppey's life. And yeah, he goes for it. Hook stops, but the right clicks are still there, and a double kill goes to Bulba.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like he was like looking somewhere else because he just like kept walking into them for a second whenever he turned the corner.
Yeah, that was not great. Well, Midwan at least is already off to a good start. His favorable matchup against Faceless Void is already going quite well, trying to pressure the Faceless Void while Time Walk is on a very large cooldown. You may have forced him to burn through a lot of regen. Puppey at bottom lane hits a hook onto Kuro, but again, the dangerous Morphling and Oracle will respawn. In this sort of lane matchup, do you want to go for the supports, or do you try and pressure the Morphling a bit to get him off of that full agility he's sitting on? Because if you're focusing someone like ET, doesn't that give a room for Morphling to just right-click you with his heavy base damage?
Yeah, I think it's just sort of depends on who they can get out of position, and how like the fights are going down. If like there is an opportunity to like target Morphling, if supports aren't able to back him up, or if he's far ahead, you get free right clicks in. You can target him, but I think it's sort of all about like who Puppey hits hooks on if he hits like that.
Right. Another attempted hook misses out on Kuro. Meanwhile, we're watching poor Miracle suffering, trying to last hit under the tower and still deal with the harassment of Midwan, who's just keeping up the pressure. Fight for the 2-minute rune is going to be covered by Liquid here against the tri-lane anyway. Miracle jumps forward. He's actually going to fight Midwan. They might be able to get the kill here if Miracle just got a bash, but he doesn't get it. And now Midwan has the bottle and turns around, forcing Miracle back.
Yeah, that was close. He was yelling bash into his mic.
And he never got it too. That was all RNG. If he gets that, then boom, he wins the lane just like that, because the later levels of Faceless Void versus Storm go a little bit better, right?
Yeah, it was only early on. He also, in the first wave, tanked like 2 or 3 even remnants whenever his Q was on cooldown, so it put him like half HP and sort of like this weird place where the Storm actually has a little kill potential, so he had to like back up and miss a couple CS for it.
Hook goes out, actually snags Matumba Man. That was a long-range one. He does have waveform though, and he'll turn around and just kill Puppey. Meanwhile, MP's battling it up against Kuro. Kuro's not dead yet. Shadow Demon will get the last hit, and they get the Luna in return. Unable to get Matumba Man though as well, and that'll mean a 2-for-1 exchange at the bottom lane in favor of Liquid. They take both the support and the carry, only losing Kuro in return. Oh, mid lane, they're actually going to go for this one. Kuro's going to go out with a stomp. Well set up. Surely this time around, Miracle will get himself a bash in one of these hits. Not even necessary. Glade claim to the kill. 5-1 now in favor of Liquid.
Yeah, he bashes the creep right after they get the kill. It's a classic.
Oh, Tama Man. He doesn't have waveforms. Completely out of mana. Nothing Bulba can do to save his carry.
This bot lane is going crazy, killing back and forth.
Yeah, the action just doesn't seem to stop, which is exactly how you like it, right? When you get tri-lane versus tri-lane, you want to see as much action as possible early on. We haven't really touched on the off-lane at all, but no surprise, Forev is winning this matchup. But honestly, Mind Control is not too far behind in CS. Bash comes out from Miracle, contesting over the rune. Who's going to be able to pick it up? Double damage goes the way of Miracle, and maybe that double damage actually nets him a kill. 8 more seconds till he time walks forward, and no Bash to be found, so no luck here. In fact, it might just be Puppey. If he hits the hook, Miracle could die, but doesn't see the angle, doesn't go for it. Does leave bottom out in the cold, though. MP takes a good share of damage from Liquid, but now will receive some of the benefits of the Oracle heal as he survives through the burst.
Yeah, in this bot lane, even though Clement has gotten a couple of pick-me-up kills, they fed away a few kills, he's definitely behind at CS Luna, the Lunar Blessing damage really coming into play, and they're just, you know, it's really hard to last it whenever you have 2 heroes with the same damage as you.
Oh god, Miracle. He gets hooked, and he knew he was dead, so he turns and fights Puppey, and actually manages to get the kill before he goes down to mid one still. Advantage goes to Secret.
Yeah. It's Chrono up now at least, so maybe they can rotate the Oracle in with level. Look, that maybe what they try and do. It's running mid right now, so.
In some ways, right, this is a better use of the Pudge. They're winning top lane, and if they can make sure that mid wins his lane, he's like the linchpin for this whole entire strategy. He's the one that keeps the Faceless Void and the Morphling down. He could single-handedly win this game if he does well enough and transitions well enough.
Yeah, for sure. Oh gosh.
Another hook. Miracle does have a Chronosphere. He's forced to use it here to be able to stall up everyone. There goes the stomp. That'll be laid down, but Miracle, he doesn't really have the HP to stick around. In fact, he's going to receive a little help from his supports. MP actually came across, doesn't see enough damage to be able to nuke out Miracle, and is forced away by the support duo acting as bodyguards to Miracle's Faceless Void.
Yeah, Puppey's reading the situation really well. Miracle's been playing super aggressively, like always time walking onto mid one every time he uses his Q, and then just like dilating him and punching him. Just ready for it, and hooked him into the tower. Almost got the kill. Forced Chrono at least, so.
Is this just the way that Miracle has to play it in some ways? Otherwise, he just takes too much harassment and doesn't punish in return?
I'm not sure. I think he can play it more passive, but whenever he does that, it like puts pressure on him and makes him like be scared and stuff because they have Chrono and like Oracle with the burst and stuff. So I think he's just like putting the fear in him. I don't think he necessarily has to play it that way.
Miracle will be forced to time walk away. Does have a full bottle to rely on. Meanwhile, the tri-lane of Secret is over. No matter how good your tri-lane is going, usually it kind of dismantles around 5 to 6 minutes. And you switch up the lanes. Your Timbersaw is now level 7, so he is more than capable to be able to deal with the tri-lane by himself now that he's got those higher levels of reactive armor, and even puts a lot of pressure on Matumba Man. As you can see, that pure damage does do quite a lot of work against a Morphling.
Yeah, that lane switch is super good, realizing that they actually just can't deal with the Timber now. They can take top tower with the Luna SD, and there's really not that much Liquid can do about it. The Beastmaster is really only good at ganking or, you know, like pressuring the lanes if he's not contested right now, and not very good, like pushing heroes off the lane at it.
Ooh, looks like rotation doesn't quite fit for them. Mind Control hope to be able to pop out with his level 6 and get a kill on Midwan with the help of the Elder Titan, but Midwan was sitting far enough back, and it looks like they also had the vision necessary to be able to see him coming, so rotation fails. Liquid not going to worry too much about it. They immediately start rotating up to top. In fact, they're even going to bring their Morphling out of lane against the Timbersaw, which is already a kind of a failed situation, and see if they can actually maybe catch this tri-lane, and if not, bully them back so where they can't get farmed.
Yeah, this Timbersaw is going to take this bottom tower pretty soon. There's not really that much they can do. Have to sort of give it up because the hero is just insane whenever he can early lead. 2 minutes.
Now, we've seen some scenarios. I think everyone's pretty familiar with the idea of like abandoning your safe lane, usually before 10 minutes. But we've seen some supports will sometimes, some teams will leave their like 4 or 5 position support at the bottom lane, just to be able to soak experience. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute because Midwan, oh no, the bug choke, it wasn't quite long enough. They're going to throw down the Beastmaster Roar and barely have enough damage to finish him off. Miracle, 2 more seconds till Time Walk is up. He gets a little bit of heal and will be good to go. Meanwhile, Mind Control, he's going to be one in serious trouble. Miracle runs himself away knowing Mind Control cannot be saved. They do get the incredibly important kill though on the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, Rev actually slightly messed up there. Instead of keeping his chalk around, I think he double tapped it, pulled it back immediately, so he didn't get slow on the void. They might have gotten that kill because Time Walk was on cooldown. MP works his way around. Oh, that's right. I want to talk to, like, when do you know MP? Maybe that's not a fight you should take. Oh God, he just fed away carry for carry, and nothing is going to happen in return, so would just pick up a free kill on a Morphling. When do you leave a support in the safe lane to soak experience, and when do you keep him moving around? Because that for me is I'm not entirely sure what situations you do that. I mean, typically it's whenever a hero needs levels to do anything, or if like they can actually be in the lane. Because if that Timber's down there, the supports can actually really survive versus they'll press R a couple of times and they just like they have to run. They can't really fight.
Right.
But if it's a game where you have like an AA or something, it's more of like a tool to get heroes to 6, or you know, sometimes you can just like sit a lion down there for long amounts of time if you have other heroes to make moves so you can get towards the blink. Don't really have much catch, stuff like that. For like timings typically.
Yeah. And this is why you abandon your safe lane. You see the mid rotating across. Team Secret want to be able to take control of the jungle. It's also a natural response to what Liquid is doing at top. They want to be able to trade tier 1 for tier 1 rather than contesting at this point. And you see our Elder Titan go down because of it. Not able to get too much experience out of the lane, at least not as much as he'd hoped for.
Yeah, it's they're gonna lose the tower as well because I think you know he didn't TP down there, but are already all set up, so there's not really any way they can get around there to defend it. But we trade for the top tower, so it's fine.
That is something that seems pretty important, right? The element of whether, like, who's set up for the team fight when it occurs. When it comes to defending your towers, TPing in is just not really a good option when so many teams have such strong team fight capabilities in this kind of meta.
Yeah, especially around these bottom and top tier 1s for, you know, respectively for Dire and Radiant. It's really easy to like close around the tower and dive in on people who are TPing in one at a time and get kills before like everybody gets in. And it's also, you just have so much vision, and they don't really know where you are because you're hiding in the trees. You can be in and out between these gaps here. It's just like, and if you're not set up, then those towers are going down. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Team Secret looking to keep their mid-tier 1 alive. They want to be able to put a fight for it, but it's almost down already into deniable range. Forev will be the one to zone Liquid back. Miracle, I'm sure, really wants to be able to get the last hit on this tier 1 tower. Forev's going for the deny now. Liquid starts streaming forward, and they will manage to pick up the kill, not letting Team Secret go for the deny. It looks like everyone else from Secret will back away. How do you really read this game, CC? When is Secret's big point to go out and team fight? Because they do have a little bit more, I would say, pressure on them, right? Because they're facing a Morphling, faces Void. They want to be the more active ones, but what does that timing look like for them?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It's sort of hard for them to make moves right now. They their strategy is more like around just like sort of like running at towers. Looks like mid one's actually going Orchid first, so maybe that's their plan. Try and get a pick off with a quick Orchid or something like that. Looks like they're smoking into their jungle. So yeah, this is sort of like what they have to do because they can't really take like these big scale team fights because they don't really have the catch. Liquid's team fight is just better, so they have to take these small skirmishes to get them to use ults and then turn that into kills. And so I think.
Oh, Stomp's gonna go down. Mid one is forced to dodge it. Does manage to get the right click. They'll get Pudge in return. Waveform forward. Matumba Man actually challenging mid one, but now Forev's gonna be able to jump in there with him. He has to replicate out, trying to separate his hero from the replicate. He's surviving for the meantime, but needs to be able to jump away. Last second, gets a jump. Waveform's out, and he's good. Miracle holding line here. He's got the Chronosphere ready to go, but no real damage. Back it up without supports unless he gets a couple lucky bashes here. Is he gonna go for this Chronosphere? Mid one's down to half health, but looks like he wisely decides it is not time to go for that kill. He would have been right too. Puppey easily could have hooked him out of that Chronosphere.
Yeah, mind control is really struggling. After his early laning stage or whatever, he did okay. You know, it was like he didn't do quite as well as the Timber Saw, but he did all right. He started rotating around, tried that gank mid, then he walked to top and was pressuring with heroes. So he's only level 7 right now at 13 minutes on a Beastmaster, 3,700 net worth. So sort of in struggle town.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, he could have jungled and been much farther ahead than where he is now, and you'll see him try and take advantage a little bit of the jungle. Meanwhile, it seems like we're also just a little bit slow on our rotations for Liquid. They keep on missing out on clutch timings. They will manage to get a Primal Roar onto Pylai dive. Stomp will go down, but mid one stays ahead of it, going straight for Bulba. Bulba does have it forced to use it here, in which case mid one is just going to turn for the kill on Mind Control instead. Mid one completely out of mana though. The Chronosphere is going to go down on Pylai Die. Miracle's damage is needed though to help out mid one. He'll turn around after executing Pylai Die, makes the jump forward. Mid one, no real escape here as the Spirit's going to be on one side and Oracle on the other. Jumps, can't make it over the leap, and will manage to be caught there by the Oracle. Miracle, meanwhile, 2 more seconds. They have the pure damage burst. Forev, a little bit more mana for it, but the time walk is away, and Forev may not have any more mana to go for it. It's going to be Puppey left out in the cold as once again Bulba's going to be the other side, sandwiching the hero 2 to 3. Is that what the total cost of that whole entire team fight was? And it looks like they went out big time favor for Liquid.
Yeah, Matoma had the replicate back top as well, so already back there farming. Looks like a little bit of communication because my control TB'd up there. So, okay. Yeah, mid one went really ham, ran out of mana, and just sort of nowhere to go. It's sort of hard for him in this game. That's why it's not really an amazing Storm game. You'd like to have another initiator right here that can go in first to Storm, so you aren't taking all the brunt of your of the damage, and you aren't forced to use all your mana to initiate and like keep chasing while your team catches up. So that's sort of what happened there. He has to go in. He has to be the first one in, use all his mana to chase people, and then he's just out of mana and just gets isolated and brought down. It's not what you want to happen, especially when you're going Orchid first. You really need fights to go well if you're going Orchid first. You just don't farm that well. You just run out of mana pretty quickly.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this in the draft, right? That the Storm Spirit pickup is innately something that is a little bit high risk, high reward. It's not the best Storm Spirit game, but if he gets rolling, he could keep the Morphling and Faceless Void down. And this item build just furthers that kind of high risk, high reward mentality, right? It's a build that if you're successful, the early Orchid timing can allow you to pick apart cores that aren't ready for it, like the Morphling before he has Linken's. But if you're not successful, you're just going to fall flat because then you don't have the Bloodstone and you just inevitably don't scale very well. Matuma Man gets bursted by the combination of Puppey and MP, well put together hook and Eclipse combination.
Yeah, that was really nice. You just got the level 2 Eclipse as well, so that extra beam V-sealing the...
Well, Necrobook 1 is here for Mind Control, but I don't know, I was feeling pretty good for Liquid earlier, but honestly, things have turned against them in some ways, just because I see Mind Control a little bit suffering. I see the Morphling go down. Mid one though is going to be caught, and this is big. Keeping, killing the Morphling, really important. Keeps the Linken's away, means that the Storm Spirit has more time to effectively use that Orchid, but that gets turned right back around when Storm Spirit gets picked.
Yeah, I think Secret's big bright spot right now is how much more farmed Forev is than Mind Control. You can compare, you know, the cores and say, oh, maybe Morphling better than Luna late game, Storm's better than Void, etc. But the Timbersaw is just so farmed right now that you can't really count him out. He's going to be a huge problem to deal with in these fights because like they have to commit a whole lot to kill him, and they use all their spells trying to kill his Timbersaw. Then Storm's going to run rampant and vice versa.
And conversely, right, the big dark spot for Secret, it's got to be mid-one's farm, right? It's really important to get that Orchid. Like, what would you say? It's been so long since I've seen Orchid first. What would you say the average timing is for an Orchid first Storm Spirit?
Not even sure. The only person I've ever seen go Orchid first this patch is mid one. So, like, a lot of times you like once again just the nature of the item. It's very high risk, high rewards to either get it obscenely early or ridiculously late.
Yeah. And it's looking like it's going to be one of those ridiculously late games. I would say he should have it already. I feel like, you know, anywhere from 16 to 18 minutes is probably your average timing for an Orchid first, but he's only, what, halfway through the components right now? So
yeah, also the Void and the Morphling are both going to have their defensive items that counter the Orchid before he has the Orchid, which is just like disastrous. So he's going to have to be jumping on supports. They're not going to really have the kill potential on either the Void or the Morphling.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. So you're saying Miracle's going to go the Manta first on Void?
Probably either that or he'll go Diffusal. But either way, he doesn't really have kill potential going Manta. The thingy.
What do you think about that? The Manta first versus the Diffusal, because I feel like both of them are a counter to the Orchid, because you could just Diffusal off the silence on yourself, compared to the Manta, actively using it to break the Orchid. Where are the kind of philosophical differences in this item build?
I mean, I think it's pretty similar, but the Manta's nice versus the Eclipse, makes folks hard to hit, and then it also, you know, makes you farm a little bit faster. And I don't know, it saves a slot. Maybe he wants to keep his bottle. No, in fact, he did sell his bottle, so yeah, I don't know. It's also just sort of the standard build, maybe autopiloting a tad.
Yeah, I think the Eclipse is something that really stands out. That makes the Manta that much stronger over Diffusal first. Oh, there's the Orchid for mid one. Here at the 20-minute marker, so fortunately didn't get delayed too much more. No Lincolns out for Matumba Man just yet. If they can hurry, maybe they can beat out this courier.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, Matumba Man is not going to push for one more wave, and he will complete that Lincoln, and even gets a regen to boot. So Storm Spirit not able to shut him down, or at least not the way that they really hoped. They're going to have to find a way to be able to break that Lincolns and still keep the Morphling controlled up.
Yeah, here comes the second race versus the courier. Miracle doesn't have his Manta yet, so.
Looks like Secret are going to go for a push on mid. They were hoping to be able to get a pick, and maybe Puppey just found it. Mind Control definitely dead when Forev's right there next to Pudge. And now that'll mean a tier 1 tower easily taken, especially with the double damage of mid one adding to the physical damage of the Luna, and they're just going to go for more. Might as well go 2 when a core has been picked off this close to a tower push.
Yeah, mid one also has a DD, so really chunking down this thing. They really have no way to take fights or whatever without all their heroes. You know, they can stall a little bit with stomps and stuff, but it's reasonably easy to dodge on tier 2. Stomp only becomes super obnoxious to around tier 3s because it's so closed stuff you can't really get up the hill without getting stomped.
So after taking the tier 2, they back away. Secret, pretty big win for them, getting a pick off on a core like that. Now the next thing probably going to be all about controlling Roshan. I'm sure Liquid are feeling it too. They're going to smoke up, see if they can actively get the pick off on MP. I'm sure they're expecting 4 heroes to be behind him too, but they're going to learn that's simply not the case. MP starts backing up just ahead of Mind Control. Can't get the Primal Horror out. And Secret is going to be able to reset a bit.
Yeah, those Spidey senses. Looks like they are going to set up and defend this tower. So really wanting to hold this tower. It's super good for Roche control. It gives you the easy TPs in. Especially for heroes like Shadow Demon and Pudge. You want to be able to stand over here and throw the spells in without getting looped around on.
Right. The, this is kind of like one of Team Secret's big peaks in power, right? They've got the Orchid on the Storm Spirit. The Luna is pretty well farmed. He's hitting about 10k net worth, so he's got all the big stats, so he's not in, potentially instantly nuked down. They should be able to fight and beat out Liquid in these team fights, but hesitating a bit when it comes to the tier 1 tower defense. Miracle is sitting on the side here, really well positioned for a good Chronosphere. I'm sure Secret are making that same kind of read, leaving Timbersaw way out in the front and not clumping up too much.
Yeah, it's really difficult for Secret to take 5-on-5 team fights. They have so much team fight control. They have to be really careful about who gets chronoed and making sure the Shadow Demons and to disrupt.
The ideal scenario, right, is that Forev is the one who gets initiated on. He's got Blade Mail, he's got a Plate Mail, Hooded Defiance, and a Bloodstone. So he is so tanky.
Yeah, almost eclipsing MP in net worth. Forev is absolutely enormous right now for an offlane Timber. I mean, he was safe lane solo, so not really lane, but Control finally getting to that Necro 3, 23 minutes, pretty late.
We'll be able to start putting a little bit more elements of split pushing, right? That's one of the big answers Liquid have to some of the 5-man death push that Secret has, is they can both split push with the Morphling and Beastmaster really efficiently.
Yeah, also as the Void gets into more items, he'll be able to split push towers effectively. Miracle's probably been the one who's been split pushing the most this game. He's up top now, trying to near the tower. They know they're all on bottom, pressuring the tower.
Long jump in, we'll be able to find Bulba first. The Orchid goes down on mind control. Really well played by mid one, but unfortunately the Necronomicon minions eat through his mana so quickly, but they've already taken 2. Can they get a third? Matumba Man, he's certainly not going to be a target. Kuro would be a better one. Brev gets the Chakramon to him. A little bit of help from Pylai Dai. Pylai Dai in trouble from Matumba Man. Burst damage on Kuro, not quite enough. The Glimmer Cape is enough to make him escape. And Pylai Dai, he's the victim in return to the Morphling's aggression. Right back up to top lane. Miracle's able to get the tier 2, and a Diffuse the Blade soon to be finished. Actually was going to TP out, cancels it, knowing that he can actually just keep pushing for more.
Yeah, mid ones, I don't know if he didn't see the Beastmaster or only saw the Oracle or something like that. I'm not really sure, but if he did see them, he's really been playing like a sacrificial role, like being more of the 3 and having Forev like take the farm and like just sort of being like that suicidal initiator, trying to like kill everybody before he dies so he doesn't die when he runs out of mana almost.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I guess in some ways that's okay, right? Because you do have 2 other cores that scale, pretty well. So if you're creating space or creating certain scenarios where they get kills even though you're dying, that's okay. But at the same time, he's their only real good initiator. He's the only way to make sure they get a strong fight, other than the somewhat unreliable hooks.
Yeah, eventually that's not really going to work anymore if he doesn't have like a lot of items. He's just going to start like dying immediately, not going to have the time to like get any damage off. He does have a soul booster though, so of his Bloodstone for too long. Not too poor. The other hero is just like really rich, so it makes him look poor in comparison. But
yeah, that's true.
Even doing like those dive bomb kills and stuff, he's still doing decent net worth.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised the amount of farm he has, considering how many times he's died or been pressured, etc.
Yeah, Secret's just had map control for a while. He's been able to farm out like this hard camp by the Dire 2-2 offline and shove off that lane. Played around there pretty safe because they did have that tier 1 tower for a long time, and slowly work up to his Bloodstone.
15 to 12, 26 minutes in, and about a 4,000 gold lead and 7,500 experience lead for Team Secret right now. Somewhat expected. They do have certain things like Ancients to be able to farm off of, where Liquid can't really efficiently clear through stacks quite as well. They also have been the ones taking more of the towers. All that's left is essentially just one big lane. Tier 1 and Tier 2 is left up there at the top lane. But surely Roshan has got to come into contention sometime soon. Do you think Secret tries to go for this one before they go top lane or before they go high ground?
I mean, they definitely have to do it before they go high ground. It's just sort of tricky to do it if they don't know where Liquid is, or unless they see like Liquid TP somewhere or something like that. Their Roche fighting is actually just insane. Hawk, Stomp, Chrono, like shotgunning your supports and stuff. It's so hard to fight them around the Rosh pit.
Pretty much any team with an Elder Titan, right? You're going to be really wary of Roshan fights, and you could see the vision here from Team Secret. Earlier, they pretty much had vision of the right-hand side of the map, so they didn't really see anything from Liquid. They weren't entirely sure if they were smoked up. Saw a couple of glimpses, and then they see Liquid make the full rotation down as a crew. They just stick with a pipe band. They sweep through the Dire jungle, go through mid, then go through the Radiant jungle, and are now going to be, I'm presumably, camping this kind of area, both mid and bottom. But I'm sure we're going to have a fight before that because Secret are 4-manned up. Timbersaw, I'm sure, is ready to go with the boost of travel. 25 seconds, maybe not. 4 more seconds. They've got Miracle dead to rights. Maybe they can go for more. Team Secret, mid one, sitting pretty healthy in mana, can make the long jump forward here. Hook, not barely, almost snatching Bulba. Not quite enough though. And Secret, they don't try for more. Even though they got a pretty big pick off in the Faceless Void, keep it conservative for now and try not to feed away the lead they just got.
Yeah, they're all sort of sticking together, having the Timbersaw push out lanes because he requires like everybody to commit. So if they know where just a couple of heroes are, you know they can't be killing this Timbersaw. He has the bots, so just forcing Liquid to deal with the lanes so they can bear on the Rosh pit.
Rev gonna be spotted here, unable to get away. He actually maybe bursted down. No Bloodstone Suicide even. Goes down that quick, and that's the help right there of the Elder Titan. So surprised that Secret are still going to be trying out this Roshan because surely Liquid going to at least take a peek in there with Kuro. Sure enough, he's going to see MP, get his Spirit in a position to go for a stomp, but not quite quick enough. Secret had that beautifully set up though. They got a pick. They had both top as well as mid pushing in. It felt like as soon as somebody went to top lane to defend, Secret just funnel into the Roshan pit and take it real quickly, but
yeah, Liquid realized that they were trying to do that and just nobody TP top because they knew the Timber was going to rotate around.
The power of pure damage against the Morphling right there. Timbersaw blinks in, gets his nice Chakram duo, and then Pudge with the long range hook is able to hit him as well. Now Miracle's going to be caught out, Orchided, unable to defuse a blade and split up in time. Puppey snags him with the Dismember.
Wow, they just bagged themselves 18k MMR.
They really did. That is now going to be a high ground push pretty easily. They've got 50 seconds left until the Chronosphere is up from the Faceless Void. He does not have buyback. And really, there's no point in Liquid buying back on the Morphling, or at least I thought not. Maybe they're actually going to try and fight this one out without the Faceless Void. But as you can see, the melee Rax is already gone. The damage is done. Secret will start to back away. Oh, yeah, never mind. They're going to jump in. No, that's not the jump they wanted. It's snatching with the hook. They do manage to still get the kill on the Oracle, clean up the range tracks, and will now back up. Probably looking towards Roshan, though 15 seconds left for Faceless Void. It'd be a little risky to do it right away. Maybe they need a pick off first.
There we go. He zipped away. But it's safe.
Just ahead of Mind Control's Beastmaster. They can't afford any picks because they are very clearly in the lead after that 1-2 punch where they got one core, then the other, then went straight into the base. Team Secret got to be feeling really good about their chances of closing out this game now in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is whenever you have to start getting really, really scared of the Shadow Demon Luna. It's not actually that strong up until the point where Luna starts getting some items, and she's almost at whatever her next item is, maybe BKB, maybe Butterfly. Or AC probably, Butterfly, AC Elder Titan. Okay, no, it's Butterfly. Whenever like the illusions actually start doing a metric ton of damage and just like chipping down these buildings. Because before that, the illusions don't actually do that much. They're just sort of, the glaives sort of tickle everybody, but now they actually start chunking.
Yeah. Oh man, I was actually with you. I was a little bit confused at first when you said AC, but then it made a lot of sense, right? You're facing an Elder Titan. You could use the armor, but Butterfly instead for MP does mean a much larger output of damage, especially with the Shadow Demon combination that you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot they had a Shadow Demon. That's, you know, want as many stats as possible for that.
Yeah.
Balanced spell.
Gives you safe high ground pushes, no commitment whatsoever, just easily able to chip away at towers and Raxes for free.
4-second downtime, well.
That is pretty absurd. And Pylai Die, he doesn't even have to be that close. He can sit way off the back. He's got an ether lens. Puppey, not too much there, but the cores of both MP as well as Forev, they are very, very stacked up. 15k plus for both of them. Meanwhile, Liquid still struggling to get over that net worth line. But Tumbaman's closest. He's got Lincolns and an Ethereal Blade so far, but no extra damage past that. And as you can see, that's probably not going to be enough to be able to burst down a support, even with the help of Elder Titan's Natural Order.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to go for supports.
Yeah, there's really no way that he bursts the Luna. She can Manta off or Manta dodge the Ethereal Blade as well. Before she gets fired, just Manta head off so he doesn't get the extra damage.
Well, this is pretty good, right? I mean, them being able to sneak in a Roshan, that's pretty huge. It looks like Puppey, though, might have made the reads. Maybe? Is he going to try and fish a hook there?
Oh, they're losing their base.
Oh god, he got him! Aegis is in there. Morphling will be able to just waveform back out, and he's good. The tier 3 tower is down. Tumbaman doesn't have any kind of jump. In fact, he's going to be orching it up here in a second, and will probably be losing his Aegis. His only hope now is to be able to get to his replicate. Burst damage comes in, but Tumbaman makes the jump. There's no control whatsoever. They do get away. I mean, do you think that was the right call? They essentially just dropped their tier 3 in mid in exchange for getting themselves an Aegis. Even if they didn't keep it, do you think that's worth keeping it out of Secret's hands?
Yeah, it's probably worth it. The tier 3 towers aren't that important. They're more important versus Shadow Demon Luna stuff. Yeah. Whenever the tower's down, the glaives go everywhere. But you know, at this point, they have to sort of go for these really aggressive plays, trying to get a Roshan, just something to like get themselves back into the game. Because after losing that Rax, Fear just has so much map control. The cores are getting ridiculously strong. Forev has a Shivas now, so he's like almost unkillable.
And even Midwan, a pretty happy camper. He's made a very nice recovery. He's gonna have a Scythe of Ice soon, so there's the counter to the Lincolns on the Morphling. Now you can jump in, use Orchid or use the pull, whatever, then Scythe, and got some guaranteed control over the Morphling from a long distance.
Yeah, he may also go for the Lincoln so he can put it on the Luna on the front lines, and she gets jumped on, get it off in time, try and block the roar or something, block the E-Blade on a support maybe if it's flying in.
Yeah, it's probably more important, right? That's a more integral part of the strategy right now. It's just how are you going to high ground push. Miracle picks up the sneaky Shadow Blade, might just have a beautiful Chronosphere, but his team isn't fully in position to defend. He goes for Pylai Die, though. That's the important hero. Still will manage to catch up the 3-man Chronosphere, and almost pops MP as well. MP gets off the Eclipse, but only for a second. He goes down. Midwan and Forev are going to be left to try and carry out this team fight against Liquid, but it's not looking great. Maybe Forev gets bashed up. Mid-Timber Chain jumps away there from Miracle. It's a little bit of time away from the Timber Saw, who's forced to commit suicide via Bloodstone, and Liquid found their opening, a potential way back into this game, thanks to Miracle Shadow Blade and a 3-man Chronosphere. Looks like Midwan's still going to be able to find an extra pickoff, making it an, okay, maybe not. Curl's got the Glimmer Cape, so he's good. 2 for 3 exchange, but a very big win by Liquid. Even if they didn't get the Timber Saw kill, they dropped some Bloodstone charges, and they got a core kill and MP.
Yeah, that was absolutely massive. It was literally the perfect chrono, caught all the heroes it needed to, and yeah, the E-Blade combo bursting down the Luna, so whenever she did pop her Eclipse, she was at like 20% HP, and they just right-clicked her down after like 2 beams, so really not having an impact on the fight.
Yeah, it was, I was like, man, Miracle, you're greedy. You know, when he saw that 3-man Chronosphere, and he's like, no, I want a little bit more. I want to be able to catch the Shadow Demon too, which, you know, makes sense. He's a good counter to the Chronosphere. But I was like, man, he's so greedy, but he still found it. He found the Shadow Demon +2. And that alone could give Liquid a way back into this game. They're certainly not out of it. Things were looking a little dire around that Roshan timing, but now Secret don't seem to have the same kind of momentum that they once did. I have to wait for the rest of their allies to come back up. The next team fight's going to happen on their side of the map, though. This could be a way back for Liquid, or it could be potential death toll for them. Bulba gonna be able to make the TP out, but it's more importantly Miracle who goes down as he's caught by mid-1. Another long jump forward, looking for mind control. Whatever +1 they can get their hands on. Not gonna find him though.
Yeah, he was trying to find another chrono. Didn't realize mid-1 had a gem, and it's pretty unfortunate. He doesn't have a gold for buyback, so only 100 short. May actually end up losing racks here.
It's, Liquid, you know, forcing. Oh, Jesus, Puppey, what a snag. Long range into the enemy base, gets Kuro, one of the better high ground defenders, and now Secret just file on in. They go for whatever else they can get. It's going to be Bulba. Not outside of the fountain, he'll go down. And mid-1 may be low on mana, but it doesn't really matter anymore. MP is here for the backup. Those Raxes just disappear, and they're going to make it so easy. They're going to end this game before anybody comes back up. No mega creeps, nothing silly like that. They're just going to go ahead and go straight for the throne. And with a Luna, they can certainly do so. The jump out, mind control goes and tries to eliminate Pudge. It's not actually enough, though, and he will manage to survive. The buyback's out. Miracle's now alive. One more second, but the the Radiant Ancient about to go down. Secret back up a little bit, leave the illusions to make the commitment here. They know that a big Chronosphere is the only way Liquid can stop this game from ending, and they've caught Miracle. He's down, and now Secret stream forward once again. Matumba Man with his Ethereal Blade tries to get back to the fountain, but it's really just delaying the inevitable. Whether he dies or not, this game should be over. And Secret catch another one. Kuro, he's gonna go down. Mind control. Oh, he goes down instead. Bulba chose to save Kuro. Kuro throws out the stomp, and now the throne will go down, and game number 1 is taken by Team Secret.
Yeah, they got a couple of key pickoffs on the Morphling earlier on, slowed down some of his